Hello everyone, it's me Chris, hope you're having the best of your life. I know that I am. I have my nose stripped because breathing through my nose is difficult in this southern pollen. And so I will enjoy my cigar. And something you'll notice about me, voice crack. You'll notice how, and this is something that happens in my personal life too often as well, it carries over. So from years and years of teaching martial arts and learning to build enthusiasm and excitement in children and people, you'll notice my voice inflection will go from this to let's go like that sometimes. And so I have to turn my karate Chris off when I talk to normal human beings. And it's because kids learn through emotion, they learn through enthusiasm, they learn through body language, stuff like that, and so that's one way to help change their emotional state. Well, one, get them moving, but one way to change their emotional state it is by using your voice appropriately. But so I'm going to talk about a follow up to my story I had. Was it the living in my car battle and success in business? I'm going to follow up that story. So I had some amazing comments from everyone. You guys are so supportive and beautiful. Not a bad cigar. You guys are so supportive and beautiful. But I thought that I would follow up and also just kind of answer a few questions because I saw a few comments. I reread the video and I realized, oh yeah, there's a few questions that are raised from it. And so, for context, though, I want to pre-frame the story with this, though. So, when I post this stuff, and there's a reason I haven't talked about this, and I really don't talk about this in my personal life much either. The reason I decided to talk about it is so it can be used as a form of inspiration. It can be used as an example. It can be used like, hey, listen, like I did it. I'm someone who I had everything stacked against me. Like I dropped out of high school. Like I was homeschooled. I was entirely self-taught for homeschooling because my mother would say, I refuse to teach you because you're evil. Like, dude, not always she would say that, but sometimes she would say that, but it's still like I had to because my mother was so incompetent. As an adult, I had to teach myself everything, and so that's where my personality wise, I just had a very unique set of circumstances, and in my life that caused me to take action like this, and also because of the books I read, the people I've met, everything else. I just decided that I would develop a mentality of I do not fail, and I will not fail, and I may go through hardship, but I will choose my suffering, and I will actualize my suffering, and I'll become the man I need to become. And so, with the story of my business, so a couple things. One of the big elephants in the room is why the hell would you keep my business open? So, so in my childhood, I had a mother who almost, almost every day would either in some way she would beat me. Verbally, she would be incredibly abusive, and she would say things like, "You're a loser. You're a fucking idiot. I hate you. You can't do anything right. You're gonna go to hell." She would say things all the time. She would say the thing that again, like abusive people do this. But like she would say all the time, like, "You treat me so horribly. You're so awful." And also my mom, she's a narcissist. So the big thing with my mom is that if you ever talk to her, if you ever call her out on anything, like, "Hey, you told me this," she goes, "I never said that. I never said that. That's in your head. I never said that. What are you talking about? You're so crazy. You're so terrible. You're the worst son of all time." Like I remember one time, she was one time. Okay, so one time when I was a kid, she would when she would beat me, she would put me in. We had a bathroom, and the bathroom was like a place of isolation, and she'd make sure you'd have one. So we had so many children in the house that the only place she could be really isolated and can only like get her way as she saw it, have control, was she would lock us in the bathroom, and she had this. It was like a cat paw paddle. I think it was actually a sex toy. Weird, whatever. But it was like a hard rubber paddle with like the little like engravements, like the little engravements on it, so it felt like a cat was scratching you. And so she had that, and then she'd also just use her hand or a stick, whatever she had, a rose bush, whatever she has, a rose bush um, limb. whatever she had. And so she would lock me in the bathroom, and she would make us like recite our sins to her in front of her and stand there. And she would make me stand up like this, recite our sins. And if I got the sin wrong in any way, if I was not apologetic enough, if I was not sincere enough in my apology, she would slap me across the face, she would hit me and say, start over, did it again, that wasn't real. And then she would say, and you're going to tell me I'm the best mother of all time. Like something like that. Like, I'm the best mother of all time. You're saying you love me more than anyone. Like, you'll never leave me. Like, shit like that. It was really fucking insane. And as a kid, so for some reason, I was old enough as a child that I had enough influence, and I read enough books, because all I did was read as a kid. I read no books because I would read in silence like we're in Nazi Germany. I would go read the books on the banned list. I'd go in the library and I would get a big book, deceitful, but again, it was my option again, and she taught me to be this way, which is again I'm not to put the blame on myself, but I was a 7-year-old child. She was a 37-year-old adult. Fuck that woman. Regardless, pardon. Back to what I was saying though. I would get like a big encyclopedia, and then so it covered the real book I was reading, and the real book I was reading would often be a good book. I'd be reading like Dostoevsky, I'd be reading Dante, but I'd be reading or just autobiographies of generals. In I'd read about Patton. I would read about the guys who survived all the Japanese concentration camps and would go through the jungle with all these hardships. I grew up watching movies, Bridge over the River Kwai, stuff like that, where all these stories were Saving Private Ryan, all these stories of men who went through intense hardships. And so, for some reason, I was so blessed. I just knew everything she was saying was a lie, and I was so resilient as a kid. I would just stand there and say, "You're a liar. What you're saying is lies." And she would lock me in this bathroom, and this would again, and the reason she would do this was because like I looked at her funny or had a disrespectful look, tone to my voice or look in my eye or whatever. And the big one, the worst one, where she got really violent, was if she ever said I made her look like a bad mother. One time I was like, "Hey mom, let's go," because we had a church event and she was staying at a church event like really really long, as people tend to do, right? And so like I pulled on her like her hand a little bit, like, "Hey mom, let's go," and she was so pissed off from that. She got out a pocket knife after she had beat me across the face, so open palm, slaps, bam, 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 across the face. And I was like, and blood was here, blood was there. She got a knife and she cut my leg, like not a lot, but she cut my legs. I have scars up here. She cut my legs a few times. And these were like the skin cuts, like the top level skin cuts. And then after I wouldn't cry anymore, or I wouldn't scream if she tried to hurt me, she would say, "I want you to get naked, and now I'm gonna hit you because you don't feel the pain enough as you're getting older." But so again, told she hated me, told she resented me, told everything about me was wrong, everything about me was evil, and I'm going to grow up to be an abuser. Well, she, of course she's going to tell me she's a toxic abuser. And again, people project their shit into themselves, you believe it, and that's how they desensitize you. So that's what my mom was trying to do, is trying to desensitize me. And so, yeah, it's just awful stuff. Or like every time if a girl looked at me as a kid, she would say, "Well, you're a piece of shit, and so you don't deserve something like that." But so that's what I grew up with, and so insane levels of abuse. So my dad, on the other hand, albeit I love my father, I still love my mother, believe it or not. I've forgiven her, but because of what she's done to me, I cannot allow her in my life because of her actions, and I will not allow her in my children's life when I have children or be around my future wife, because I cannot allow someone like that to remain in my life. But so my dad, as much as I love him, was less abusive. He was less abusive, but my father, the flip of the coin, was incredibly neglectful, very selfish. He would basically, like we found, like so, like for example, like when my mom divorced him, he like I think it was like the morning of the paperwork for the divorce trial. He didn't actually read in the paperwork or anything. That's why my mother was able to sneak in the geographic freedom in the divorce contract, because he just like, "I just want my divorce to be over because I have a vacation next week," and Yeah, and so my dad had this vacation planned, right? They wanted to go on this vacation. And so the reason we were able to move from Texas to Virginia is because he signed off on geographic freedom in the divorce settlement with my mother because he was too busy to read the agreement or listen to the lawyer he had hired, who is a very good lawyer, by the way. Um, because my dad's too buffoons. My dad is just my mother is a hardcore narcissist, but she's like the covert, like closeted one. My dad, on the other hand, is just more like the buffoon narcissist, who's just a selfish idiot, who's an immature boy. I shouldn't say that. He's my father. Should respect your always respect your elders. There's a reason honor your father and mother is in the Bible the way it is. But yeah, so my dad also was like, like son, don't go to college. You'll never do anything. Don't own a business. Don't try anything. He was like, man, he's like, he would always like all the time as children talk about like how he does not want us to go to college, how he does not want me to, he's like, oh, son, you don't need to have anyone teach you anything. You can teach yourself. People are idiots. Teach yourself everything. Well, I mean, I did evidently, but did okay. But guys, have some humility. Get a mentor. Have a mentor. I'm not selling a course, but like if you find a mentor, find someone to help you out. I'm telling you, they're out there. People want to help you, especially if you're a young man or even if you're older man. But like I was saying, so my dad it was pretty much just as bad. And so when I was in the position and my mom kicked me out of the house, my dad was in Texas, my mom was in Virginia. So first of all, you gotta keep in mind, I just had a bad concussion. I was not thinking straight, and also I know in adulthood, I have OCD. And so when you have OCD, hyperfixation is one of the things that happen from it. And so I didn't understand why my brain would hyperfixate. I must do this thing no matter what. And so when it came to my karate school, in my brain, I literally was, because I would not, because my dad was telling me, you won't accomplish anything in your life, you're going to be a loser, your best bet is to go manage a Whataburger, which is like not, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, that's his highest aspiration. And for me, I'm like, no, I want to be wealthy. I want to be successful. I want to make an impact, make a difference in this world. I want to help people. And so karate was my way of doing it. Karate, I don't know of any career where you can do in a local business where you have as much influence on so many people in your community as karate. Like, it's wild. Everyone knows you. Everyone loves you. Everyone respects you. I mean, some people don't, obviously, but it's really beautiful. And so it may not be the best way to make money, but it's one of the most beautiful ways to have a career to make money. And so that's why I pursued it. But so for me, like I didn't even have my black belt yet, and I had just been assaulted. I had just gone through a bad assault. I had a concussion. I had a couple fucked up ribs or broken ribs, and here I am. My mother, I hate you. Go kill yourself. Which I should have. Again, I was naive, and I didn't realize there was a difference. I didn't realize that, when people suddenly start putting on acts, they're just putting on acts, and that they're and people tend to not get better, they tend to get worse. People don't change, they tend to get worse. Again, some people, that's not the case for everyone, have some grace, but most people, their pattern of behavior, they tend to follow those patterns the rest of their life, as harsh as that may sound. But so back to what I was saying with all this. So, my mother had kicked me out, and my dad was like, my dad, and I will fully admit, I tend to be harder on my mother than my father, because growing up, I spent far more time with my mother, who was abusive daily, than my father, who was abusive in smaller doses. And also and the difference also too, my father actually has a sense of humor, so he would actually be fun around. So, and I have a self-deprecating sense of humor, so he would like, I don't mind being made fun of, and I like making fun of myself. A little masochistic at times, but I still enjoy it. And so I didn't mind it the same way as, but it really fucked up my siblings the way my dad would tease them. But besides that, and so I had a dad who's telling me I'm not going to accomplish anything in my life when I'm 18 years old, and not to pursue my dreams. And just give up, don't pursue your dreams. Because my dad had a competition with me, and his sons can't beat him. Then I had a mother who told me, you're worthless, the only reason I had you is to pay my bills, go kill yourself. So I will say, full transparency, this was not the best decision. But I went this karate school because, and especially if you're a parent and you have a kid and you are adamantly fighting them to not do something, they're going to do it. It makes it worse. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. And so, I mean, obviously there's certain boundaries to have, but if you get someone like me and you tell me who is motivated, the second someone tells me I can't do something, oh, I'm going to fucking do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. Now, I'm to a healthy degree, but if it's my ambition, my dream, my business, I'm gonna fuck shit up. I'm gonna conquer this shit. And so I decided I don't care if I drop dead tomorrow. I don't give a shit. I am gonna succeed. I'm gonna be successful. I don't even like where I live. I did not like the town where I had the karate school at all. I hated that town. But I was like, I will not fail. I will not fail no matter what. And I went and I hopped in my car, and as I said, I was sleeping in my car for a minute to get that school off the ground. And so, for context, when I slept in my car, what I normally would do, the hotel that we taught out of, they had an underground parking garage. And so I would go park my car in the underground parking garage, so I still got Wi-Fi as well. So it was bougie homelessness. But so then roll up my sleeping bag in the car, well, or a blanket and a pillow, and or oftentimes, or as weird as it may be, I would just get like roll up a T-shirt and use it as a pillow. And to this day, so it's interesting because I was used to sleep in my clothes. So to this day, I still oftentimes it's weird. I sometimes I like to sleep in my clothes, as weird as it sounds, because it kind of feels normal to me. Or I like to roll up a T-shirt, and like a T-shirt like this one, well, not a t-shirt, but a shirt, and sleep on it, as weird as that is, or hell, a hat. And so, and literally, I went, and then eventually the hotel, they caught on, and they gave me like a great rate for me to stay at the hotel for like basically nothing, and it was amazing. Um, but yeah, and then I also couch surfed with friends a little bit, so it wasn't as bad. But so basically, I just went, I marketed, and again, I didn't have my black belt yet, guys. I was like a fucking brown belt. And so I rocked it. And I was like, hey, I'm Chris. Come do classes from me. Come train. And like the business systems were fucked up. I ran things like it was the 80s. My instructor, who was like mentoring me through this, he helped me out, but like he was from the 80s, so he gave me some just awful business advice all the time. So I just kind of figured it out as I went on. And so I figured out class plans. I figured out management. I figured out how to deal with people. I figured out enrollments. I figured out billing and process. Oh my God, I lost so much money when I first started because I didn't understand billing. I didn't understand processing. I didn't understand like people lie to you and you have to hold them to an agreement. Like all this stuff, man. I didn't understand how to explain the agreement correctly, but like it was so wild, man. And somehow these people believed in a freaking 18, 19-year-old kid, and they saw something in me, and I was able to grow that business from a hotel to a storefront. And what got it to the storefront was that, so in the hotel, my business was, I got to the point where it was making me about $8,000 a month net, running out of a hotel room. And this is back in 2016. And so I was making about 8 grand a month net from the business. Well, between like 6 and 8 normally. And so not terrible, especially if you grew up really, really broke like I was, like not terrible in poverty, not bad. And so finally, the hotel manager one day, I get to the karate school, and keep in mind, like at this time, like I'm not sleeping, I am eating nothing but fucking McDonald's and Taco Bell, like so unhealthy. Like I will, like this will not kill me compared to what I did to myself to get that school figured out. Holy moly, guys. Yeah, I ate nothing but like fucking Taco Bell and candy and shit like that. It was fucking wild. But back to what I was saying with all of it. Finally, what got me to go to the storefront was that the hotel manager one day said, "Oh yeah, by the way, the hotel you're teaching out of, you got to get out because they're going to be tearing it down. The University of Virginia, is going to be tearing this hotel down in like 2 months or something like that to build. It was like a village green. I think they built like a park, like a dog park, instead of a hotel, which that's interesting, right? And so then I think I had $18,000 put away at that point saved up, and I just kind of been to court because I got a reckless driving ticket in Virginia. They hand those out like candy. Just got me at the wrong spot, and so I just went through like 5 grand in legal fees and shit. And so I was like, God damn it! But I managed to still go get a storefront, move to the karate school. I went, got a garage apartment over top someone's garage for $800 a month, paid in cash, so they didn't raise my rent for like the 4 or 5 years I was there. It was fucking wild, and I just worked it, man. I freaking worked it. And so But with the story being said, if I can't say this with a kind of conclusion to everything, and again, yeah, I remember, yeah, I'll go here, I'll go here, and guys, this isn't meant to be conceited or anything else, but I remember working it, and I finally had my few years in, I had my best day of all time, and on my best day of all time, I ran a promotion, and I netted $22,000 clean in a single day, net. One day, $22,000 clean, pure profit. One day. I was sleep deprived. I was exhausted. My body was shaking because of all the adrenaline, the excitement, and I was like, "Wow!" I just bought this brand new car in cash as well. Bought my brand new Honda Accord, which that's why I love a Honda Accord, a V6. I love it. Bought it in cash. I'm 21, 22, 23, whatever the hell I am, and I buy this Honda Accord in cash, and then I have my best day of all time. I'm like, I just made a new car in one day. Like, holy shit! And so, all the egos go in my head maybe a little bit, but I was so proud. But my first thought wasn't me. My first thought was, my God, will my dad be proud of me now? And so I called my dad. I was like, Dad, you won't believe this. I told him I made $22,000 today, clean profit. And my dad's reaction to it was, "Oh, that's great, son. Maybe you could give me a loan now, boy. Maybe you could give me a loan, maybe. All that money you got. Man, I remember you being a baby and wiping your ass and how pathetic you were and just scrawny. And, oh, yeah, you used to shit your pants as a baby, didn't you? Yes, that's you. Yep, that's you, just a little shit. Oh, well, that's good for you, son. Good on you. But I remember you just pathetic and barely able to do anything. And it's crazy how even today you can barely talk, you just talk with that weird voice and you can barely talk and, but it's good, son, you're the best. I'm so proud of you, my boy. I'm so proud of you. But, maybe you could learn to talk a little slower and, maybe it'll make a difference in the world. But, but I'm so proud of you, my boy. What, good on you. And maybe you can give me a loan too. Maybe give your loan to mom too while you're at it. And, which is like, interpret that as you will, but yeah, I was like, huh, I'm not sure how to think on that. But so, if I may, with all this, guys, all those decisions and everything, well, I did get some bad guidance. I did have a rough go at things many ways. It was of my own volition. It was my choice. I chose my suffering, and I pursued my suffering. Today, I've chosen my suffering. I'm pursuing my suffering. I am not a victim in this. This is not for sympathy. This is to say, like, guys, I came from a fucked up situation. I lived through fucked up years. Live your life. Love your life. Enjoy your life. And pick and choose your burden. And pursue it. Like life, there's so much hardship already. You must pursue your passion. You must pursue what you love. Because, guys, life is hard enough already. We need people to bring joy. We need people to make a difference. And again, guys, choose your suffering. Because life is hard enough for you. And either you choose your suffering or you get involved in someone else's suffering. And life is far, far worse. And I'm not a victim of this. It was my choice. It was my call. I did what had to be done. And I'm doing it today. And please, if I can, I hope that's inspiration to you, some motivation to you. And if you're a young man watching, fuck shit up. Conquer the world. Conquer your dreams. But anyway, guys, I'm Chris. Pardon me for swearing so much. I can get that way sometimes. I'm a little irritable from the pollen in the air that's to go around. So, guys, thank you for watching. I love you all. Do you relate to any of this? Would you agree I probably did a few rash things I shouldn't have done, but I think it turned out okay. But that is life, and now we have stories to tell, right? And I have plenty more stories to tell. I look forward to sharing with you. But also, have you been through something similar? And what are you doing in your life to make a change? And what helped you choose to not be a victim? Anyway, I love you all. Like, subscribe, share, everything else. I'll see you in the comments. I'm Chris. Have the greatest day of all time, the best of your life. I'll see you around. Goodbye.